Peace. What's the word, everybody? Give everybody a chance to tune on in before we start building on the subject matter for the day. Hopefully, everybody's having a powerful Tuesday thus far, keeping everything efficient, healthy, positive, powerful, all that good stuff, man. About to continue my build from yesterday. I still had some things that I was unable to get off of my chest, so I would just want to finish up that nice and powerful build, man. I feel like I was going in, but I had to cut it short. You know what I'm saying? Was dealing with a client, had to train him real quick. But now we here, man. No interruptions, man. We got about hour 30. So we gonna build. We gonna build. Mr. Rowe, peace, what's happening? FS, peace. Magic Realms, peace. Jeremiah, peace, what's the word? Justin, my brother, peace, peace. Mr. Rowe, we about to go in even more. We about to go in even more. We about to go in even more. Just peace, peace, what's happening, Queen? Mr. 305 Lay, peace, what's going on? Oh yeah, we about to go in even more, and we about to utilize the same reading material that we utilized yesterday. We're gonna use it for today. So the same book, man. I'm about to quote from the same book because there was some paragraphs in there that I failed to read that I would like to read to y'all today, that I feel like further proves some of the things that I was trying to say yesterday, or some of the points I was trying to make yesterday. Terenzo, Ricky, peace. What's happening? Seville, peace, peace. Ruben, peace, peace. Jeremiah, appreciate that donation. Terenzo, man, it's all about we striving for that liberation. Young Moolah, peace. What's happening? Striving for that liberation, and I find I've always said it. I remember right around the time I hit like 20 or whatnot, man, when I was coming across, a lot of black organizations, and when they was telling me how powerful the black man is, I started posing questions. I was like, man, if we so powerful, why are we so comfortable working for these white folks? That was my question. I was like, man, if we as black men are so powerful, why are we so comfortable working for these white folks, taking orders from these white folks? If we so powerful, why don't we reverse the script, and why don't we exercise our power and practice ownership a lot more? I didn't appreciate people telling me how powerful I was, yet I'm supposed to accept working for somebody that I'm calling an oppressor, a devil, a beast, or whatever we want to call them. I was like, that doesn't make me feel comfortable, man. If we gonna speak the truth about these white folks, but then we about to turn around and continue to clock in for them, I'm like, this ain't making any sense. It never made any sense to me. I couldn't put those pieces together. I'm like, man, if you about to tell me the black man is all this, that, and the third, then why am I working for a devil? Why am I clocking in for a devil? Why am I clocking in for a beast? Why am I taking orders from a beast? That ain't how this is supposed to work if we supreme. If we the supreme beings, like all the things that they were telling me, if we the supreme beings, if we came from all this righteousness, all this glory, all of this power, why are we comfortable clocking in large amounts to these white folks? I didn't like that. I was like, nah, if you telling me how powerful I am, how supreme we are as a people, then it's time for us to live out that reality. Point blank, period. Anthony Peace, what's the word? What's the word? Mr. Rowan, that's part of what I'm talking about. That's part of what I proposed yesterday. It's time for us, enough of us, to get together. And I'm talking about putting money up on a monthly, weekly, bi-weekly basis, whatever the agreement is. I feel like most of us are working men. I feel like we can all afford to put some type of money into a pot, into an account somewhere. I feel like we can all do that. I feel like we can all take about $20, $30. I mean, you get enough of us, man. Just mathematically speaking, man, we could just do the math right now as black men. And I feel like this is something that the men, we have to start. Like, we have to do it, man. We got to defend our nation. So it starts with us. But just hypothetically speaking here, man, let's do some math here. It's all mathematics at the end of the day. Let's do some math here. Let's just say if we could get 100 brothers to put up $100, got 10,000. We could easily put that up a month. So y'all already know in with 10,000, we had 120. We had 120,000 at the end of the year. Just off of 100 brothers putting up 100 a month, I'm pretty sure we can find 100 brothers that's willing to put up $100 a month. And that's just 100. It's just 100. That's a light number. I feel like we can get way more than 100. But if we just start there, that's $10,000 that we are putting up on a monthly basis. Just putting up 100 men, 100 black men putting up $100 a month. We got 10,000 a month. 10,000 a month. May not sound like a lot, but if we continue to do that, that adds up. And if we continue to add more men to the mix, that adds up. So you're dealing with 120,000 a year just off of 100. Let's say, boom. Let's say we get it to 500 because we building 500 put in 100. We have 50,000. We have 50,000 for the month. If we just get 500 black men to put up $100 a freaking month, that's how simple this is. 500, it's not 1,000. We halfway there. So we definitely can find these numbers, man. We definitely can get these numbers, man. We definitely can get these numbers and make this happen. 500 black men put up $100 a month. We got 50,000. We got 600,000 for the year. Come on, man. We got to stop begging these banks, getting mad when they deny us and reject us, because that's how it was designed. That's how it was designed. We got to start making things happen for ourselves, man. And this is one of the easiest ways to do it. But we got to start small. We got to start somewhere. If it takes 10 of us to start, then it's just going to start with 10 of us. If it takes 5 of us to start, then it's going to start with 5 of us. Consu, peace. What's happening? Lindell, peace, peace. What's the word? Armand, peace. What's happening? Airview, peace. What's the word? Let me go ahead and greet everybody that's in this joint. FS for sure. I talked about that some months ago when I talked about integration, being the enemy. Create strategy. Peace, peace. All right, Mr. Rose, say no more, man. We're going to set something up. We're gonna set something up for sure. We're going to set something up. Ricky, that's what we're talking about. We put this money in the pool and we're going to invest that money. We're going to invest that money in the black communities. We're going to invest that money to build up the community. Put things in the community that are needed and necessary and required. We're going to own some land and we're going to put what we need on that land. You know, that's what we're going to do. Nick, peace. What's the word? But now, let me read a little paragraph or so going back to the book, man. Going back to my book, Amos Wilson, man. This is a very powerful book. But what motivated or inspired this particular stream, let me read that paragraph to you all. Let me read that paragraph to you all for sure. Let me see. Here we go. This is what right here. This is the paragraph that inspired this particular stream. And let me know if y'all feeling the jewels, man. But this is exactly how I've always felt, especially once I got the knowledge of self. This particular paragraph or these paragraphs that I'm about to read resonated with me deeply because this is how I've always seen it. This is how I've always felt about this situation, about our liberation, about us being free, independent as black men and women. Here we go. One of the things that I recommend that you read about is the Samburu and their image of what it means to be a worthy man, with a heavy emphasis on economic self-sufficiency and productivity. You have to recognize that in the older systems, the definition of manhood was tied up with productivity. With the Samburu, a man is a man that owns something. I'm going to repeat that. Montel, peace. What's happening? Jason, peace. I'm going to repeat that. With the Samburu, a man is a man that owns something that is not working for another man. A man is a man that owns something that is not working for another man. That's the ideal. I ask many of our young men today, how can you accept the definition that man means to be independent and then see the ultimate goal of your life as working for a white man? I'm telling y'all, Amos N. Wilson was a very underrated scholar, man. But let me repeat that. I ask many of our young men today, how can you accept the definition that man means to be independent and then see the ultimate goal of your life as working for a white man? Very great question. It's a contradiction. You cannot see that as the end point of your life. If you define manhood in terms of independence, if you define manhood in terms of self-control, self-determination, you can't do it and then fall subject to the white man. That's why the very definition of yourself requires overthrow of the white man in this world today. Repeat that. That's why the very definition of yourself requires overthrow of the white man in this world today. You cannot be a full man and be subject to rule by a white man. Let me repeat that, man. You cannot be a full man and be subject to the rule by a white man. That's a contradiction in terms. That's why you got to move the black boy beyond going to school just for jobs. He's going to school to remove this white man as his boss. Understand? Listen, man, listen to what we're talking about. Listen to what I just want to read that again. That's why you got to move the black boy beyond going to school just for jobs. He's going to school to remove this white man as his boss. Understand? Man, that's a jewel right there, man. That's a jewel right there, because that's the main purpose of the educational system today. The educational system is designed to keep us enslaved, to make us servants, to enrich their empires, to build up their empires. That's the whole purpose of it. They teaching us how to be slaves. Why would they teach us how to be independent and self-sufficient? Then who would work for their businesses? Who would work for their corporations? Who would enrich their legacies? Come on now. Now, I'm going to keep reading. One of the reasons why you suffer in these schools is because we do not have transcendent goals. Goals that move beyond the individual's own desires and wishes. Education is a transcendent goal. It transcends the individual, in that education is concerned ultimately with the ability of a people to survive and a transmitting to the next generation of what it takes to survive. Come on now. Therefore, the education of the individual just does not stop with themselves. It moves beyond the self. But when you make the end point of the education of your children merely jobs, then it becomes very difficult for you to motivate the child to really understand why that child is going to school, because it doesn't move beyond this. Come on now. Of course, the system likes to keep us at this point. There must be a transcendent reason that we are here, to own property. Now this group of people, the Samburu, depend on cattle for their wealth. Cattle is wealth, sheep, goats, a few donkeys, and so forth. Mostly cattle. It's liquid capital. It is the basis of their prestige and influence. Therefore, to be called a worthy elder or a worthy man is to own and control one's own piece of land or one's own herd, and to be no one's servant. Listen, here we go. I'm going to read that again. Therefore, to be called a worthy elder or a worthy man is to own and control one's own piece of land or one's own herd, and to be no one's servant. To be no one's servant. This is the ideal of manhood for this group. This may involve their having to rustle their cattle from some other people, because a young boy has got to establish himself as a man. That may involve taking back from other people. I know that hurts some of our moral sensitivities, but if it does hurt your moral sensitivity, remember where you got your morality from and who taught it to you. We don't look at that enough. Come on, man. He said, remember where you got your morality from and who taught it to you. We don't look at that enough. We don't even need to get into that. We don't even need to get into what he just said and what that means. Man, y'all know what that means. Ricky, here go the book right here. Issues of Manhood in Black and White, an incisive look into masculinity and the societal definition of African man. Amos Wilson, one of the GOATs, man. And another thing I just want to read another portion of this book here, because I feel like this is crucial. This part that I'm about to read, and then it's probably gonna be the last little quote that I read from the book, or the last little insert that I read from this book, excerpt, I should say. But it say man as producer and provider. Now this right here is key right here. Now I feel like this is important in regards to how we need to attack the next generation. This right here, these little 3 paragraphs are crucial. But listen to what we got to say here. Listen to what we have to say. Or Amos and Wilson said, in order for the Samburu to be a man, he must engage in self-denial. That's a part of the deal too. One of the things that a Samburu boy does at a certain point is stand before his mothers and the women's quarters and swear that from this point on, he will not eat any food seen or prepared by the married women. Listen to what we just said. One of the things that a Samburu boy does at a certain point is stand before his mothers and the women's quarters and swear that from this point on, he will not eat any food seen or prepared by the married women. He's saying he's not going to eat any more of his mother's food. Does that mean that he hates women? Not at all. He's saying I'm getting ready to move from the position of consumer and taker into the position of producer. No matter how tempting the food is and how wonderful it is, some of this food is their natural food and the food they love very much. I'm going to deny myself this until I achieve the ability and capacity to make it for myself and vow to feed my mother rather than being fed by her. Man, listen to what we're talking about. I feel like this is powerful right here. I feel like this is powerful. A whole different reversal that is part of the manhood ritual to move a boy who is a sucker of milk and feeder from his mother's breast into the role of producer. We used to have that in our society too in the old days. You would hear a guy say when he was young, man, the first thing I'm going to do when I start making money is to buy my mama a house. You don't hear that much anymore, do you? I'm going to set my mama up and I'm going to make her stop working. This used to be a goal here. This used to be a big goal for every young boy to have his mother stop working. This used to be a big goal. This used to be a very big goal. You don't hear that anymore. What you hear now is I'm going to my mama's and see, can I get something to eat? A whole different ethos is going on here. A part of that ceremony of Samburu and the Maasai is that the boy cannot be a man until he kills his first oxen. Then he cuts that oxen and gives the biggest piece to his mother. What is he symbolizing? I am now the producer and the provider. We need to get back to the ancient rituals. We need to get back to creating these rituals. Like, this is literally what we need to do. They basically telling that young boy, it's time for you to stand up in front of the women and let your mother know and everybody else know. All the other women know that we will no longer accept food from you because now it's time for us to learn how to fend for ourselves. Just imagine if we were required to do that. Just imagine if we were required to do that. Sometimes you got to apply the pressure to an individual for them to learn how to fend for themselves. So just imagine if at 15 and 16, the young man had to say, I can no longer accept any meals from women. And now I got to go out here and fetch my own food. Now I got to go out here and provide for myself and feed myself. Just imagine if that was the objective. Just imagine if that was a ritual that we all had to undergo. Just imagine that. Just imagine what that would do. We wouldn't be dependent on anybody for anything. We're going to learn how to provide. We're going to learn how to protect. And that's one of the ways that I feel like we have to go about it. I feel like this would be a powerful, very powerful ritual. I feel like this would be a very powerful practice, something that we can implement, something that I feel like will definitely impact future generations. When you tell these young men, hey, look, all right, you 15, 16, you no longer accepting food from your moms. Now it's time for you to go out here and learn how to take care of yourself in regards to feeding yourself. Now, we ain't talking about killing oxen and stuff, but you can learn how to grow food. You can learn how to grow your fruits and veggies and things of that nature. It's time for you to learn how to do that. So just imagine if at 15 and 16, that's what we started doing because we had to. Man, I no longer can eat that good old food from my mom's and my grandmother. So now I got to learn how to eat. I got to provide for myself. So I'm finna learn how to grow these berries. I'm finna learn how to grow these veggies because I got to feed myself. Just imagine. Just imagine. Just for show, we gonna make, and this is gonna happen. We gonna make this happen. Anais, it'll definitely be a better world. We gonna make this happen, man. This is something I feel like that particular practice is big, man. I feel like that'll work wonders for young men in regards to the transition to manhood. Like, these are things we have to literally prep these young boys to become men. And I feel like a lot of us was missing that when we was growing up. I feel like a lot of us, if we had some of those strict rituals and practices and things to that nature, we would have turned out better. We wouldn't have made so many mistakes and taken so many L's in our 20s and our late teens and things of that nature, because we really wasn't too much focused on like manhood and what it meant to be a man and all that type of good stuff. Man, we were just out here acting like fools for a very long time. A lot of us, you know? So I feel like if a lot of us had that, or they tried to instill that discipline in us when we were younger, when we was young bulls, like, a lot of us would have turned out better faster. For some of us, man, we came to the light, as they call it. We came to the light like kind of later in life. But I feel like, man, if we would have had some of these rituals, like this discipline was instilled in us at 14 to 15, we definitely would have turned out better, man. Most definitely would have did it. Most definitely. Lindell, for sure. For sure. For sure. Yeah, leashing. And we can't be doing that. We can't be doing that. We can't be encouraging that. We can't be teaching that. Like, that's just not what it is. Like I said, we got to take the responsibility. Like, when it comes to these young boys out here, these young men, that's our responsibility, and that's how we got to look at it. And I was thinking about something the other day. It's like, whether you have any children or not, as a black man that's striving to be righteous, that's striving to be responsible, that's striving to do the right thing out here, you are a father figure to somebody. You are a father figure to somebody, whether you know it or not, whether you want to admit it or not. You are a father figure to somebody. You are a father figure to somebody, man. When you are a black man and you striving to be righteous, you striving to do what's right and exact, you striving to be responsible, you striving to just do what's right, you are a father figure to somebody. It's somebody that's younger than you that's looking up to you. They admire what it is that you are doing. You are a father figure to that individual. So whether y'all know it or not, whether you want to admit it or not, you are a father figure in the eyes of someone younger than you. And they are always watching, man. So you got to be mindful of how you move out here. That's why I say ownership, things of that nature. We can't just talk about it. We got to do it so they can see it. So when they see that it's possible, we going to have more of it out here because they seeing that it's possible for us to be owners. Leo, you say they requiring the jab all over LA. Should you leave? I mean, at the end of the day, it ain't really no running from it because they gonna try to require it everywhere at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So if you go somewhere else, they gonna strive. They trying to require it everywhere. They trying to make it mandatory pretty much everywhere you go. That's why I say ownership. We just gotta find ways to own more. Therefore, we will not be subjected to having to follow their rules and regulations. So that's all we can do at this particular point. We really can't run from them striving to make that whole situation mandatory. What we can do is create a certain situation and environment for ourselves to where it's irrelevant and we don't have to follow their rules and their guidelines and their regulations. That's what we can do. And that's what we should do because they're going to strive to make it mandatory everywhere. So you really cannot run at the end of the day. No matter where you go on this globe, they striving to make that joint mandatory. So it's really nowhere you can run. We could just focus on building and creating better opportunities for ourselves to where that is irrelevant because we make our own rules. We make our own regulations because look at it. When you create a corporation, like you a separate entity. The United States is a corporation. You know what I'm saying? So when you create your own corporation, when you have your own business, like you can create your own policy. You can create your own rules and regulations because now you are a different entity. So that's why we need to start creating more corporations. So therefore we can create policies so that when they striving to make something mandatory that we don't like, then we got a corporation and we make the rules and we could just make the rules that benefit us. So that when our people getting rejected over here because they making something mandatory that's killing us, we can accept them over here because it ain't mandatory over here because we have a corporation and we make the policy, we make the rules. So a lot of people don't understand that. That's why I say we got to start owning more, create more corporations because then we can make policies, we can make our own rules. And it ain't too much anybody can do about that once we do that. Infinite Charms for sure, man. We definitely got to get back to those ancient practices, man. And then I say get back to the ancient practices and, of course, remix them to a way that kind of suits our lifestyle here in the wilderness of North America. Because obviously, like I said, we ain't about to go out here killing oxen, you know. So I feel like it'd be more suitable for the young brother to learn how to grow his own food because that's just a more healthy way to go about it. But, you know, just remix some of the things that was done back then, add our own twist to it, and we good to roll, man. But our ancestors, man, a lot of them, they left a lot of great ancient practices for us. So they left the blueprint for us a lot of times, man. But of course, as everything, we should revise it to just kind of suit us in our current lifestyle or in this current era. But, you know, they left us a lot of blueprints, man. They left us a lot of blueprints and we just ignore them. And we always asking somebody, what's the solution? What's the solution? Got plenty of solutions. Just choose one. Got plenty of solutions, man. All we got to do is pick the solution. Pick the solution that benefits us, man. Or pick the solution that we more comfortable with, whatever the case may be. But we got plenty of solutions. Plenty of solutions. Lorenzo for sure. And again, which revolves around us creating our own system, you know. And that's what I was basically alluding to in the beginning. Like I said, we got enough working brothers, man. We got enough working people on here, man. We can pull some money together and we can do exactly what it is that we need to do. We can create systems. We can pull minds together. We can do exactly what it is that we want to do. We got enough powerful minds. We got enough powerful minds. We don't need a million people. Heck, we can change the. Listen, when you look at the powers that be, as they call themselves, as we call them, the powers that be, 1%, 10%, however you want to refer to them, it's not a lot of them. It's a very select few families that have all of this so-called power. It's not a lot of people. It's not a lot of them. It's not a million people. It's not a billion people that have a lot of this power. It is a very small, select few. It's a very select few, small amount of people. A few families have all this power. It's not a lot of people. So we can do the same thing because it does not require a lot of people. We don't need a million people. We don't need a million black people on one accord. We don't need a million black people with the same mentality. We can change the game with 50 of us. We can change the game with 100 of us. We can change the game with 100. A smooth 100, we can change the game. Walker, peace, what's happening? So a smooth 100, game then change. It's really that simple. We can change the game with a smooth 100, man. Smooth 100. But at some point, we have got to just start putting things into motion, and we have just got to start doing these things. Like I said, in regards to just ownership and us thinking that we can be fully independent and free while we clocking into somebody that we refer to as the enemy. Makes no sense. Never made sense to me. I was never comfortable with that. I was never comfortable with reading all these books about my ancestors, my glorious past, myself, and then whole while I'm clocking into somebody that doesn't have my best interest in mind. Like, man, that's a total contradiction. I felt like I was selling myself out every time I punched the clock. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm selling myself out. I feel like I'm a lot more powerful than this position, you know, just based off of the things that I was studying. I'm like, man, there's no way I should be clocking in to this beast, to this enemy, man. This is slavery to me. So I'm like, nah, man, I got to find a way to own what I'm doing here. Ownership has got to be key for me. It was key for me. Ownership. I felt like that was one of the ways toward liberation and self-sufficiency and things of that nature. I gotta own, gotta boss up, gotta do that, gotta invest, however it is, whatever method, whatever tool you need to utilize to free yourself, use it and free yourself. Liberate yourself from this particular system. But there is no way you can liberate yourself from a system when you continue to clock in to the enemy and you rely on the enemy to write your paycheck. Like, come on now. There is no way you could say you independent and you free when you relying on the oppressor to earn your living, to feed your family. Because we already know the oppressor doesn't really care about us. So anytime, like when it's time to start like downsizing and things of that nature, who the first to go? When they need to cut some jobs, who the first to go? Like, you think you valuable and whatnot, because they done told you this, because they just trying to keep you satisfied and happy so that they continue to pimp you for your services. But as soon as it's time to downsize, who they letting go? Who the first to go? When it's time to cut the job, like budget cuts and things of that nature, when all this stuff comes to the surface, who is the first to be impacted and affected by it? Who the first? Who the first? Y'all already know. Y'all know the answer to that. We the first ones, man. We the first ones. When it's time to downsize, we the first ones to go, no matter how valuable you are. You could be the MVP. You could have been the employee. You could have been the employee of the month for 24 months straight. But when it's time to downsize, guess what? You gone. Tamika Peach Queen, what's happening? You gone. Lindell, you already know. Kyler Muhammad, my man's. But you already know, y'all know how I go. You could have been the most valuable. You could have been, if you was on the sales team, you could have been responsible for bringing billions in sales to the business. You could have been the number one salesperson on the team. When it's time to downsize, guess who got to go? Is you. You gone. Because they trying to preserve their bloodline. They trying to look out for their people first. What they say, preserve the best part for yourself. The best part for self. So when it comes down to it, if it's an option between black and white, they're going to choose their kind every time. And we can't fault them for that. Like I said yesterday, that's to be expected. That's to be expected. I done seen too many people. I done seen too many black people getting their feelings when they lose these jobs and they start talking about how valuable they were to the firm, to the business. And they like, I can't believe that they let me go. How can you not believe that? Who owns that corporation? Who owns that business? Who owns that firm that you work for? How you can't believe they let you go? You thought these white folks was loyal to you? What makes you think that? Because you made them billions of dollars? Oh, you think just because you made them billions of dollars that they loyal to you now? They're not going to ever let you go. That's what you thought. When has history ever demonstrated that they were loyal to us as a people? So why are you surprised that they let you go, of all people? When you were like one of two black people in the whole firm and you surprised you got let go. See, we got to stop, man. We got to stop with the illusions. We got to stop being delusional. When these things happen, we got to stop being surprised. And that kills me, man, when I see it. We always surprised. When a white cop shoots a black child or a black, we surprised. Why are you surprised? That was the whole reason for the cop force in the first place. The whole reason they created the police in the first place was to police who? Was to take out who? When they say protect and serve, whom are they talking about? Who are they protecting? Who are they serving? It was never black people. It was never black people. So then when we say, okay, they were designed to protect and serve, who are they protecting? And who are they protecting that people from? Ask yourself these questions. When they say protect and serve is the mission, who are they protecting and who are they protecting those people from? They was protecting these white folks from us, even though we wasn't a threat. So that was the whole origin of the police in the first place. So why are you surprised when they go out here and they just fulfill their duty, their obligation? Literally. Literally. That's the reason why they exist. So it should be of no surprise. These white corporations, when you get rid, it should be of no surprise that they let you go. It should be no surprise. Oh, Leo, for sure. That's what I was talking about. Land, just ownership. We buying land, and then we can discuss what to put on the land. But it's rather inexpensive to actually purchase pieces of land. And heck, even like a lot of black people, some black people already that have land. We can reach out to them, find them, be like, all right, man, let's figure out something to do with the land. We could put schools on the land. We could put gyms on the land. We could put science labs in the land. Like we could on the land, we could put everything on this land. But acquiring land is crucial. It's crucial. It's crucial. Antoinette, Peace Queen, what's happening? It is crucial. Kansu, for sure, my brother, for sure. Oh, Michael, man, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Don't get me started. And then the way that they try to intentionally provoke us so that they can get a reason to let us go. Little things like that, man. I done been there. I done been there, done that, man. They try to intentionally provoke you just so they can let you go. There go the reason. Oh, see, I tried to talk about Michael or talk to Michael about such and such, and he responded like this. Therefore, we had to let him go. How many times have you been in the workforce and you saw them try to confront some of these white folks that work there, like the older white folks, and they got the same, you know what I'm saying, resistance. But when we supply with that resistance, then we got to go. We insubordinate, we not listening, all that type of nonsense. We get rolled up, everything. All of that. I've seen that too often. Oh, nice, for sure. We're creating our own rights, creating our own commandments, creating our own laws, rules, regulations, etc., etc. All in Dell. You say you often wonder what does the government get out of all the freebies they give out. What they do, they pacify the people. See, when you give, like you pacify. So it's like, for instance, stimulus checks. When you give these people money, like you pacifying them, like, oh, okay, this ain't too bad. They giving us stimulus checks. They giving us a little bit of money. You pacifying the people. So when you give people things, you pacifying them. You making them more dependent. Like they dependent upon you in regards to these freebies that they are handing out. So that's the reason why they would give out freebies, so that they could appear to not be the enemy. Like they appearing to be on your side. So that's pacifying the people. That's keeping the people passive. You know, so it's deception, it's manipulation. It's like, all right, we giving these freebies, then we're gonna appear to be on their side. And that's pacifying them. So that's the reason why they hand out freebies. Like that's it. That's literally it. Give them this money to shut them up for a little minute to make it look like we on their side. Whole while we not though. We scheming and we plotting on them. But we just gonna give them we gonna give them this. Because then think about it. It really ain't a freebie. For instance, the stimulus checks. Where did we spend that money? So it's like they gave you the stimulus checks just for you to basically give it back to them. Because where did we spend most of that money? Like, where did we spend most of that money? The money that they gave us. Where did we spend most of it? So that people was like, man, why are they giving us so many stimulus checks? Why are they giving us all this? Where is the money going? It goes right back to them. So they're not losing money. They didn't lose. They never lost. They wasn't losing money, you know. Here go the stimulus check. Y'all just gonna give it right back to us. Y'all gonna go right back to Walmart. Y'all gonna go right back to the stores that we own and control. And y'all about to spend that money there. And y'all about to buy a bunch of stuff that y'all don't actually need. And that's what was happening. That's what was happening. So they were just sitting back. They were just sitting back laughing at us. They were sitting back laughing at us like, yeah, we already know how this is going to go. We're going to give them this money and they just going to give it right back to us. And they going to end up broke. We're going to tell them that people out here wasn't paying their rent, getting evicted, things of that nature. Because they wasn't, what was it? How long was it? About a year or so that they could go without paying the rent without getting evicted. And people straight pushed that limit. People straight wasn't paying it. Not knowing at the end of the day, like once they lift the, you know what I'm saying? That you finna get evicted. But it was people out here straight not paying their rent and whatnot. And then just wasting the money. Just stupid stuff, man. Just dumb, man. Just dumb. Just us being dumb. Terenzo for sure. And what's crazy is they probably could. They just choose not to. They probably say some of their people from things before they happen. But not us though. You know, you say I got into a fight with a sister at Walmart and lost my job. You ain't needed anyway. Tierra for sure. Infinite Church, definitely another control tactic. That's all it is. Literally all it is. The Yoka, you say it's a keep you dependent scheme. Oh, for sure. Oh yeah, man, Armand, yeah, them PPP loans set us back, man. A lot of people, and we the only one, and this is how you know, man, just the level of thinking with black folks, man, because I was, again, y'all know my story, man. I was working in the bank when these PPP loans like first hit the scene, and I just saw the mentality. I just saw the difference in mentality in regards to black versus white. Black people looking at these loans like it's a come up, like we straight tricking the system. White people, Asians, none of them were looking at it like that. If they happen to get the PPP loans, they actually use the PPP loans for what you were supposed to use it for. They wasn't looking at it like, oh, it's a come up. I'm pimping the system. That's how black people were looking at it. Oh, I'm finna get this PPP loan and I'm finna go buy this. I'm finna go do that. Like, dude, this is not a come up. You dealing with the feds. They want you to do that so that they can, boom, come after you. But black people was looking at the PPP loan like it's a come up. like it's a get rich quick scheme. You fool, it's not. It's not. If you don't need that PPP loan, if you don't fit the bill, you don't have a legitimate business, why are you striving to get this loan? Why are you striving to lie to a system that's waiting on you to do that? Like, you giving them more ammunition. And then when we get caught, we want to sit and cry and say it's unjust. You shouldn't have lied on that joint. You can't give this system any ammunition. They already looking for the ammunition to take us down. So why would you give them the ammunition? You just handing them, like handing yourself over to them. Like, here I go. I'm finna lie. I'm finna get all this money and I'm finna do wrong with this money or with this loan. So I was just noticing the difference in mentality when it came to black versus white, when it came to these loans, man. I saw the white people get the loans, but I saw them actually use the loans to pay their employees and do things like that, man. Just take care of the lease and all that type of stuff. I saw black people get the loan, putting it in different accounts, not paying their workers, all that type of stuff. Withdrawing the cash, like come on, man. Come on, man. We got to shift the mentality. We got to work smarter out here. We got to utilize the wisdom, man. We got to put the proper knowledge into motion. I saw all these things. The real supreme justice for sure. We funding our own destruction. We funding our own enslavement. Like, that's what we are funding, literally. When we continue to give these corporations all our hard-earned money, income, whatever you want to refer to it as, but we are keeping ourselves enslaved every time we do that. Every time. And they know we gonna do that. They already know. Michael, for sure. Yeah, they just want to replace you, and they can replace you, man. Hence why, like, these jobs ain't trying to pay anything, man, because at the end of the day, they just gonna find cheap labor from some of these young folks out here. You know, so they have no problem letting you go. They probably feel like they're paying you too much anyway because you've been there too long. So now they just want to replace you, and they want to give somebody less money to do the same job they had you doing for $4 or $5 more. So that's the world that we in, man. That's why I say we got to create more opportunities for ourselves. They not paying us what we worth anyway. So why sit there and slave for somebody that's not paying you what you worth? Nah, we got to go out and get what we worth. Like, we got to go out there and create opportunities so that we can generate what we are worth. You worth way more than 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, et cetera, an hour for all of the work that they want you to put in and do. Like, no. And at the end of the day, they don't care anything about you. And they just waiting for you to slip up several times so that they could just let you go and replace you with somebody else and pay them a lot cheaper just to do the same job. So we ain't got time for that. We ain't got time for that. Infinite charge for sure. For sure. We ain't getting behind over here. We ain't doing that. Yeah, them PPP. Yeah. Everybody that did wrong with that loan, like, that's crazy. Everybody that did wrong with the loan, man, that's a bad situation. Cause I seen some individuals get a nice amount of money. Nice amount. I don't even want to say money. Nice amount on the loan. I seen a lot of people get a nice amount, and they did not do right with with that amount. They ain't do right. And I can only imagine what happened to them because I left the game. I left the banking world, so I don't even know what happened to some of these individuals that I witnessed do wrong with the loan. But that's on them, though, man. We can't keep giving this system ammunition, man. And that's giving them ammunition. Nero peace. You know, that's ammunition. That's ammunition that we got to stop supplying them with, man. We giving them the bullets, we giving them the gun, like, here, basically, boom, just shoot us. Like, that's literally what we doing. Just shoot us down, kill us. We supplying them with the weapon, and we supplying them with the ammunition to just take us out. That's what we doing. Self-destruction. Self-destruction. Q the Saint. Peace to me. You say then had GoFundMe's to help pay it back. For sure. For sure. GoFundMe's out here. And that's what's crazy. I remember when I talked about this like some years ago, I talked about how people can't even afford to die out here. like GoFundMe for funerals and things like that. We ain't even got life insurance. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't even able to afford to pay for burial services for our people when they pass. Man, we know one thing for certain. We know that we gonna what? Die. So we all gonna have a funeral. So I feel like that's something that we should take care of early. We should never have to worry about that. But yet we do. And I'm not talking about when people die unexpectedly, like early, you know, like 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, all that. I'm talking about, man, we've seen 65, 70, 75-year-olds and things like that pass, and it's like GoFundMe's for it. No, what are we doing? We shouldn't have to worry about that. We shouldn't have to stress over how to take care of the proceed, like how to take care of how to bury our grandparents and things like that. That should already be taken care of. But no, you see GoFundMes. People pass, GoFundMe. GoFundMe, trying to raise money for the funeral. That's pathetic. We got to stop doing that. That's one thing for certain. That's one of the only guarantees we have in life, is that we shall have a funeral, because we shall die. So why are we not taking care of that? Soon as you are able to take care of that, get some type of life insurance or whatever the case may be, you should. Because again, that's the only thing that you can guarantee that's going to happen. You can guarantee that at some point you will not exist physically anymore. So why is that something that we're not taking care of quite early? Like, I remember when I got my life insurance, man, the dude was like, man, I wish I got it at a young age like you. And I was like, I felt like I got mine late in the game. I was like, what, 26, 27? I was like, dang, I felt like I waited too late to get this one. And he was like, man, I wish I would have got mine at that age. And I got some Jews. And again, you study the white folks. I seen what the white folks was doing. I heard them, and I was talking to them, and they was telling me the importance of life insurance. Not even only when it comes to taking care of like the funeral and the burial and all of that, but just how you can, certain policies borrow against it. If you want to put a down payment on the house, like that's a form of wealth to white folks. That's a form of wealth to white folks. Now, I talked to plenty of white folks, and I talked to plenty of wealthy Black individuals, and they all was telling me about insurance policies as a form of wealth. So I was like, let me go grab one. And I did. Right when they told me that. I wasn't even about to sit on that. I'm like, man, let me go ahead and get one. It makes sense what y'all saying, so I'm going to go ahead and give me one. And I got one. Still got it. And I'm going to get some more, too. Those things come in handy. And I'm not talking about just when you die. Them things can come in handy, period. Period. While you are living. So just do the knowledge to the life insurance policy. We should all have that, though, because again, that's something that's going to happen to us. Create strategy for sure. It ain't expensive. You ain't going to miss that little money. We probably would take that 25, 30, however much it is, and spend it on some nonsense anyway. That's killing us. So like, why not? Why not take that 25 a month and put it somewhere where it's beneficial toward this policy? That's how I look at it. Anais for sure, 100% imperative, man. 100%. 100%. I'm talking about one of the best decisions I made, because again, that's something you ain't got to worry about. Something happened to me, people taken care of. People taken care of. You ain't got the stress. They ain't got the stress. Oh my goodness, how we gonna take care of this? How we gonna take care of that? A lot of Black people afraid to talk about that. Oh, I ain't gonna talk about that, man. Like, listen, it's something that's gonna happen. Talk about it so you can deal with it, so you can have all your ducks in a row. The last thing you want to do is leave your people behind all stressed out. At least take care of that part so they can grieve properly. It's hard to grieve properly when they got to figure out how they gonna raise the money to pay to bury you. So make it semi-easy on them. Like, all right, man, that's already taken care of. But now Black folks can't even grieve properly because they stressing about how they gonna pay to bury they loved one. Come on, man. That's unnecessary. That's unnecessary stress, man. That's unnecessary stress. All right, like, listen, all right, got it taken care of. We good. We ain't got to worry about that. So now I can grieve. Now people can grieve. Boom. But we don't like to talk. We don't like to talk like too many Black people. We don't like to have serious conversations, man. We don't like to talk about the deep stuff, man. We like to look around too much. We don't like to get serious, in depth when it comes to talking about things, man. We afraid. Death ain't something to be afraid to talk about at all. It ain't nothing negative about death, man. Nothing is negative about it. We must talk about it so that we can prepare for it, so that we can have all our ducks in a row. We ain't got to run from that discussion. Why are you running from it? Why are you afraid to talk about death, man? Come on now. It ain't nothing to be afraid of. But when you start talking about this stuff, black folks, they want to run from the conversation. I'm not running from the conversation. I ran to it. I'm like, okay, man, what y'all talking about? Life insurance policy. Boom, boom. Give me all the game. Give me the jewels. Once they gave it to me, I was like, cool, let me get that. Obviously, I'm 27. I ain't thinking I'm finna just die, but I'm like, cool, let me get that, man, because this is going to work long term. I live to 100. That's going to make that policy that much more beneficial and powerful. But we got to get on that type of stuff early, man. Everybody else do it. CC Peace Queen, what's happening? There's 90 peace. But everybody else do it. Everybody else do it. And that's that financial literacy. But on top of financial literacy, this is the thing. A lot of people say, man, we lack the knowledge. So we financially illiterate. But this is the thing. It's hard to teach people that don't want to learn. So a lot of black people, when you start talking about certain things, they just simply don't want to listen. They don't want to learn. So that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem. The educational system then made some of this information so dry that it's unappealing to us. So that when you start dropping certain jewels, black people gonna turn you off because they want to turn to the gossip and the entertainment. They don't feel like it's entertaining to learn about finances, to learn about how to invest, to learn about life insurance policy. Man, if we did whole videos about life insurance policies, black folks would be like, nah, we can't do that. We want to hear about Kanye versus Drake. That's what we want to talk about. I don't want to hear nothing about a life insurance policy and how I could probably borrow against it to make a down payment on the like stuff like that. They don't want to hear nothing about that. They don't want to hear about that. But then if you say, all right, let's talk about Drake versus Kanye, then everybody tapped in, tuned in with an opinion, and they ready to talk about that. They got a lot to say about that. They got a lot to say about those individuals. Infinite Charms, exactly. Exactly. And it ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? That just is inevitable. It's a part of life. It's a part of life. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to live forever. Like I don't want to do that. I don't want to be here forever. Like, no, not at all. Too much nonsense out here, man. So I want to serve my purpose and boom, leave work behind. That's it. I ain't trying to be here forever. I don't want to be here forever. Like that ain't a goal of mine to try to exist forever. Like, no, you know, death is necessary. Death is required. I ain't afraid of conversation. But black people get afraid of that conversation. Therefore, they never handle that business. They don't have wills. They don't have life insurance. They don't have any of this. So then when the time comes, they trying to figure all of this out, but they so weak mentally because they dying of some type of ailment or disease. And now it's like they ain't able to really think clearly. So now it's just all messed up. Or they don't take care of it at all. Then the state take control of some of their assets and things like that. Or they don't take care of it at all, and then they got the whole family fighting, all that type of stuff, man. I done seen all of it. Man. I have seen it all. So we got to be better prepared for the inevitable, man. And collectively, we are never better prepared for the inevitable. The inevitable just hits us, and it's just like, there we go. Now we got GoFundMe. We trying to do fundraisers to raise money to bury loved ones out here. Like that's where we at with it. We talking about liberation, self-sufficiency, things along those lines. Come on, man. How we gonna be liberated and self-sufficient and we can't afraid to bury loved ones? We can't afraid to, but we doing GoFundMe's to bury loved ones, man. That's like sick. That's sick. Walker, man, I'm telling you, when I started looking into life insurance, the moment I got introduced to it, I was like, wow. I went through all of this schooling and nobody told me about life insurance policies. Like, why is there no course on life? How do you, for the life of me, how do you not have required courses on life insurance? Because like I just said, everybody is going to die. So why don't we have courses in school preparing us for something that is going to happen to us all? We all going to be faced with that situation. So why is there not courses in school that's telling you how to deal with it? Here's why you need to have life insurance policies. Here's how to go about creating a will. Why are these not courses in school? I mean, literally, we all are going to be faced with a situation like that. So I feel like that should be definitely required to learn about. But man, I went through all of those years. I never really knew about life insurance policies, the differences and all of that. until I was introduced while working in banking. And then I started doing the knowledge on my own. I'm like, hold on, whoa. I was like, okay, this can be beneficial. And you ain't got to, a lot of people, when they hear life insurance policies, they think life insurance policy is just something that people get when you die. You don't realize that you can utilize the funds from a life insurance policy while you are alive. Like, that's what I didn't know. Like, I literally didn't know that. When I thought life insurance policy, I was like, okay, that's something that when I pass, then the people that's around me, it's going to take care of the funeral, and then it's going to be a little extra cash, whatever the case may be. That's what I thought. I didn't think I could benefit from that type of joint while I was alive. Hence, you can't. So once I started getting that information, I said, Dad, now I see why people get these joints. And they's talking about it's a tool for wealth. Now I understand. Denies for sure. 100%, 100% right and exact. Infinite Charms, man. First of all, my condolences. And secondly, I was a part of a similar situation. Well, I witnessed a very similar situation. Hence why I'm so adamant about it, because, man, it's stressful. It's stressful. It's stressful when everything is not in alignment. Once somebody passes, man, that is stress. I mean, it is a very stressful situation, man. Very stressful, especially when you got to deal with the siblings, like your siblings and all that, man. It is a very messy situation. Very messy situation. Q and that, exactly. To be afraid of it. It's crazy. It's crazy. They telling us to be afraid of death, but then they telling us that that's really how we gonna receive our reward. See, they don't want us to enjoy anything while we here on earth. Hence the whole giving us the religion and whatnot. So they telling us we gotta wait to get our pie in the sky after we die. So it's like the contradiction. Ja, your virtual home, girl, you say, because the system is designed for us to fail. 100%. 100%. That's why I say it's very hard for us to be self-sufficient and independent when we continue to clock in for the oppressor that owns this system. We'll never be independent, self-sufficient, liberated, free. If that's your objective, it's impossible to be that clocking in for the beast. Impossible. Justin, you say because they don't care whether we live or die. In a sense, they care, like they want us to live and be sick as long as we can. Hence why they got all of these medicines and these treatments and these like medications to keep us alive in a sicker state longer so that they can get more money out of it. See, back then, they was just letting us drop dead. Now they realize there's more money in keeping us alive longer while sick. But a lot of people think medicine and science and all this stuff has advanced. No, they just found more ways to keep us alive in that sicker state longer. But just because we are living longer doesn't necessarily equate to a better quality of life. So now instead of dropping dead at 30 from a disease, they have figured out a way to make you live with that disease 30 years longer. So now you just suffering 30 years longer with this disease. And they get more money out of you. My man's Ryan, peace. You just need for sure, and that's the one I got the whole joint. Now, if I'm not mistaken, with the term, doesn't it have cash value once the term runs out? So if you get like a 20-year term life insurance policy, at the end of that 20 years when the term is up, doesn't it have cash value after that? If I'm not mistaken. But I have a whole joint. I have a whole term. But if I'm not mistaken, doesn't the short, I mean, not short term, but the term have value after the term is up? I think that's how that goes. Don't quote me on that. I ain't no insurance expert now, but I just know I got the whole joint. Justin, man, I'm telling you, man, y'all sound like exactly the situations that I saw. Jason, peace. You say going through it with my sister now. What? Hold on now. What didn't happen? Okay, there you go, Jason. Oh man, my condolences again. Once again, my condolences on that. And that's exactly what I was talking about. That's exactly what I have seen. Just going through it with the sibling, man, it create friction, unnecessary tension. It's already a stressful situation in regards to what you having to deal with, and that just makes it worse. That's why I say, man, we gotta cross our T's, dot our I's, man, because it get real in the field out here. Cue the Saint for sure. Thunder, you already know. You already know, my brother. You already know. Yeah, CC for sure. Yeah, if you got them assets, property, all that, you need to have that lined up. Now you need to have that written out thoroughly. Now you can always go back and revise that joint, but you should have something. Create strategy. Put the mom deuce on. Put the moms on for anybody that's looking for some joints. Okay, Denise, there we go. Right on for informing me on that one. I just know I had got the whole. They broke down the term, but I was like, man, the whole sound like more of my speed, so I got that joint. Okay, Denise, yeah, okay. That's I semi remember some of that about the term, but when they broke down the whole, I was like, yep, that's what I need. That's that. The whole made sense to me right when he was explaining it. I already had it in my mind. That's what I was rolling with. So I ain't even really too much listen to the term because that whole just was it. It's like that's it. That's what I need. So okay, got the clarification. Just you say I'm a little embarrassed to admit I dealt with a lot of anxiety concerning death. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. And I mean, I feel like a lot of us have been there, done that when it comes to that particular um concept. I know for the longest, man, I thought about it like just constantly. Like, man, I was just thinking about it just constantly. It was like a fear. But the more I thought about it, the less I actually started to fear it, man, because I started to understand it and what was the purpose of it. So it stopped bothering me. So the whole anxiety, it left me. So now it's not something that I fear, it's something that I understand now. And I understand that it's inevitable. I understand that it's promised. It's one of the only things that's promised. So it really doesn't bother me now. Really doesn't bother me at all. But back then, when I was a youngin, I thought about it. I was like, Dad, that's messed up. I'm like, we putting in all this work just to not exist anymore. Like, what's the purpose? And I told y'all some of my story, man. Just the way like some of the philosophies and some of the systems of belief that I was embracing at that time, like it wasn't really very optimistic. And a lot of that just had to do with me thinking about death and dying and things like that. So I was just like, man, what is the point of all this? We doing all of this just for one day we don't exist anymore. And for the most part, if you ain't made any extravagant moves, then most people ain't even gonna know that you were here. So it was like I was thinking about it like that, but it's all good though. It's all good. Hey, Jason, you got it. Light work, man. We got it. Hey, we here for you, man. If you need that inspiration, that motivation, we here for you. It's not keep it going. Keep it circulating. You know what I'm saying? Keep it circulating. Create, yeah, for sure. And that's what I was talking about. Living benefits. I ain't use that word, but yeah, that's what I was talking about. A lot of people just think that life insurance is something that just benefits people, which I mean that's kind of messed up to say, but benefits people after they pass or benefits the family, but you can benefit from certain policies while you are here. So yeah, that's the great thing about it. Oh yeah, man, for sure. We like they say, giving people their flowers and whatnot, man. So that's why I always talk about, man, just living in the now, living in the present, things of that nature, man. That's why all of that is just important because you just never know at the end of the day. And I feel like part of living in the present, living in the now, is having that type of stuff taken care of, so that if something happens to you, then you good. You ain't worried about nothing. But you're gonna always, in the back of your mind, it's gonna always be an anxiety there. If you don't take care, if you don't have a life insurance policy, if you don't have a will and things of that nature, man, it's gonna always be in the back of your mind that if something happens to you, then people around you ain't gonna be straight. So in order to like ease that burden, it's best to just take care of that stuff right now, so then you can live more comfortably. Because now you like, all right, if something happens to me, then everybody gonna be good. Not saying that you want something to happen to you. You just saying if something happens to me, because man, you just can't, you don't know, you can't control that. But if something does, like people taken care of, we good. So you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to stress about that. You don't have to stress about it, man. Again, it's easing the burden, is releasing that burden, really. You don't have to be like, man, if something happened to me, man, people ain't gonna be straight. People ain't gonna be able to take care of it. Like financially, they're gonna be out of whack. My family gonna be all bad. You ain't gotta worry about that. You ain't gotta worry about that. So we gotta start taking care of self, man. We gotta start taking care of self, embracing the people while they are here, man. If you got any elders in your life, I'm talking about people that can hit 70, 80, 90, some even make it to 100. Man, if you got them in your life, man, chop it up with them. Learn. Man, they got a story to tell. They done made it 90 years, man. We 2021, so we talking about 1930, 1940, 1950. Like, they seen a lot. Chop it up. Because when they gone, like, those memories die with them. Those stories die with them. You ain't gonna have, when that 90-year-old passes, you no longer gonna be able to get those stories. So, man, chop it up with these individuals, man, while you have the opportunity to. So if you got some elders in your life, man, I'm talking about elders that hit 80, 90, chop it up with them. Chop it up with them, man. Embrace them. Give them their flowers while they're here. Because, again, when that generation is done, we no longer have real live people to tell us what went down back in those days. We ain't appreciating our 90-year-olds and things like that, man. It's a select few. When they gone, like I said, those stories die with them. We ain't gonna have anybody that was back in that existed back then. You got to think about that, man. We ain't gonna have firsthand accounts of what happened back then when they gone. So we need to continue to embrace them, man. Listen to them when they tell us these stories about what happened in the 40s and the 50s. Because when they gone, we're not going to have any firsthand accounts of what happened in the 40s and 50s. It's going to be all speculation, stuff that we can study from secondhand sources and things of that nature. So embrace them. Embrace them, man. When they telling you about what went down in the 40s and the 50s, listen, take note of it. And pass that information down. Pass the story down. Pass the story down to your peoples, man. Oh, Jason, for sure, man. Like, having an open mind, I feel like having an open mind is one of the recipes for just like good health. You know, that's the recipe for good health. Just having an open mind, just being open to everything. Like I said, when y'all see the book collection, man, I'm reading some of everything. That's having an open mind. I'm not closed off. I'm not just studying things that agree with things like lifestyle choices that I done made. I'm not reading things that just agree with it. I'm reading everything. I'm reading all type of opinions, philosophies, healthy lifestyles and things like that. I'm studying all of that because you have that open mind. I feel like the open mind is like a recipe, is a formula for good health, man. Just being open and receptive to new ideas. That's how you grow. That's how you continue to evolve. I'm never complacent. I don't like to be stagnant, inert. Like, I don't like to just not move, man. I'm always striving to ascend, elevate, grow, transcend, whatever the case may be. And I feel like having an open mind is part of that. Oh, CC for sure. CC and Just, man. You gotta love the elders. Gotta love them. Tamika, man, I'm telling you, definitely get the family history, man. You got, and I'm talking about the good and the so-called bad. Find out what type of situations exist in your family, man. Study patterns. You will learn a lot by studying your family. But in order for you to study your family, sometimes you got to talk to them. You got to talk to them, man. You got to see all the things that went down in the family on both ends, man. So you can get a good idea of how to break certain curses and things of that and what to look out for. Because whether you like it or not, guess what? You're going to embody some of the characteristics of a lot of people in your family. So you need to know them. You know what I'm saying, man? If you got people in your family, man, that then, you know, had like mental episodes, you can start studying patterns. You can be like, man, they told me about my cousin, my aunt, and my grandmother. They all had these episodes, and before they had the episode, they start acting like this. Then you start acting like that, and you can get ahead of it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, man, just study, do the knowledge to your family. That can save your life. That could result in you reversing or breaking a whole generational curse. Studying, but a lot of times, man, we're afraid to do it. We want to know some of the good things. We're afraid of the so-called bad things. But the bad things are more important to know than the good things, because when you learn the bad, then you learn what to look out for. You learn what to look out for. So again, we be running from those deep conversations. No, tell me all the bad that went down in the family so I can know, and so that I can know what to look out for in regards to myself, so that I can prevent from taking some of those same L's that other people in the family took. I need to know these things. Let me know the good, bad, the ugly. Let me know everything. Let me know it all. Jason, peace, appreciate that. But let me know it all, man. I want to know the good, the bad, the ugly. Don't hold no punches, man. Don't pacify me. Don't just tell me all the good stuff because you feel like I can't handle the bad stuff. No, all the ugly stuff. Let me know everything. Let me know everything. Point blank here. Let me know it all. Let me know everything under the sun pertaining to the family, man. So chop it up. Chop it up with your family members, man. Chop it up with your elders, man. Chop it up with them. Listen to them. Listen to them. Ms. Donnie, I'm telling you, best game to soak up. That's the best game to soak up on the planet, man. When they get the building, man, it's wonderful. It's wonderful, man. You just sit back and you just chilling, man. Just listen to what it is they saying, man. You like that, man. That's crazy. Y'all was doing that back in the 70s. It sound like today. So you start realizing, man, ain't nothing new under the sun. You was like, man, y'all was acting the fool just like we was acting the fool. Y'all was doing the same thing we was doing. Sometimes we be thinking they was living on a separate planet back in the day, and they was doing some of the same things. Hence where you think we got it from. So it'd be funny, man, to hear them talk and realize they were doing the same things that we was doing back in the 70s and the 60s. Wasn't a separate world, man. They was acting just like we was, man. And that's what's funny about it. Y'all, they were doing the same thing we was doing. Doing the same exact thing, man. That's the funny part about it. That is the funny part about it. Oh yeah, Miss Donnie, nothing new under the sun at all. One of my favorite phrases. Yeah, doggone. That's what they always say. It's like, man, they just tell us all the time. Y'all just got the internet and y'all got social media. See, we ain't had that back in the day. Man, they had social media and all that back in the day. Telling y'all, man. Matter of fact, a lot of us might be embarrassed, man, to see some of our people and how they was acting back in the day. Man, we might be straight embarrassed out here if our parents and grandparents had social media back then. Man, we might not even be on it because we embarrassed to show our face. You know, some of the things that they were probably on. And that's how the future generation is gonna be. All these mothers and fathers out here putting themselves out here on social media. So now when they kids grow up, they gonna be embarrassed to get on social media because they moms all on social media doing all type of nonsense, being known for a lot of nonsense, and vice versa for the pops. So like we messing up the younger generation, man, by throwing ourselves. People like, oh man, you see your mom on Facebook doing it, she naked and all this type of stuff. Like, come on now, that's going to affect the young generation. Now your young son got to go fight dudes at school because one of the little dudes has seen your mom's naked on the joint. You know what I'm saying? Like that. This is what's going to happen. Nobody has time for that. A young man going to defend somebody talking about his mom. So it's like, man, you said what you say about mom? Boom, we fight. We fight, and that's just the true reality. We gonna throw some hands, man. You said you seen my mom's what? Time to fight. And that's what's happening now, man. These adults all on social media acting crazy, not really thinking about how that's affecting the future generation. Now, your kid gonna get on social media and see, you know what I'm saying? Your son finna get on here and see his mom's acting a fool. And his friends gonna see his mom's acting a fool. That's what we on, man. It ain't hard to find, like, you ain't hard to find on social media, man. If your kids get of age, man, they gonna find you if you out here, man. It ain't hard. So now you got to deal with that. Now you got to have a conversation. We ain't trying to have them conversations, man. So get on this joint, act righteous, man. Be righteous, man. The babies are watching. The babies are listening. The babies are seeing. They hearing. So be mindful of all of that, man. Quit throwing yourself out there, man. Quit putting yourself out here like that, man. On social media, man. Be respectable. Be honorable. You know what I'm saying? Be righteous. Because the babies are watching, and the babies are the greatest and the best part, man. So if they watch and they see you doing this nonsense, guess what they gonna do? Cycle continues. So be mindful of everybody that's watching you. Specifically, the younger folks that's watching you, the younger eyes that's on you. Because like I said, the young eyes are on you, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. Young folk are watching. Tamika, exactly. And then they want to beat their daughters half to death when their daughter is 12 and 13 out here doing the same thing that they still do. You know what I'm saying? They just following your lead. They just following you. They see what you doing and they want to be like moms. So come on now. You know what I'm saying? And on the pop scene, if they see you out here toting around guns in your profile pic, money all up on your ear like a phone, what do you think they finna do at 10, 11, 12 when they see that? What do you think they gonna do? Hey Michael, that's a good tradition right there. That's a good tradition. Justin, and that's it's crazy, but it's not crazy at the same time because that's the way of the world. And I don't even blame the young bull. Don't nobody want to deal with that because you got to go to school. See, the moms ain't thinking about the son having to go to school and deal with that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say it's selfish. It's selfish because now your child has to deal with that. How you gonna like you don't have to deal with you just on OnlyFans selling yourself out. You ain't dealing with the fact, or you ain't got to deal with going to school getting teased. Like your son, your children have to deal with that. So you being inconsiderate and you being selfish. You being inconsiderate and you selfish when you going out here on these platforms acting a certain type of way, and you got children in school, and you know good and well that these young folk gonna easily find you on social media and they're gonna tease your child. Like, that's you being selfish. That ain't the only way you can earn a living. Like, don't degrade yourself like that. Don't tell yourself that that's the only way that you can make a living, because it's not. Plenty of different ways, plenty of righteous ways you can earn a living other than doing that, selling your body. Plenty of other righteous ways you can earn a living, man. So don't put your child through that. Don't put your child through that, man. That's nonsense. That's garbage. Like, that's garbage, man. Don't put your child through that. That's selfish, man. That's completely selfish. 100% selfish. And then for you to justify it, that's how I make my money. What are you telling them, man? That's the only way that you can literally make money? How is he going to perceive women at that point? If he sees his moms selling her body for money, and then the mom's telling him that's the way that she got to make her money, how do you think he's going to grow up and perceive women? If he see that his own mom's really doesn't value herself and respect herself, how do you think he's gonna view women as a whole? If he see that his own mom's is out here disrespecting herself and not valuing herself and not seeing her body as a temple and selling her body. How do you think? How do you think he finna treat women? You're like, man, my mom don't even respect herself. Why should I care about any of y'all? Like, that's what I want to know, man. How is that affecting him as a young man, as a young boy, seeing that his mom has no respect for herself? None. You have now scarred that young boy. You have scarred him. You have now scarred him. He has seen his mom sell her body for money and then justify it by saying that's how I earn my living. So now that's it. He's done. He's done. You have now scarred him in regards to his relationships with other women. You scarred him. You have scarred him, man, and more power to him for like, man, I don't want to live with you, because he knew that would man, this is trash. It's ridiculous. Let me go live with the pops. You know, it's ridiculous, man. You ain't got to sell your body for that bread, man. You ain't got to sell your body for some money. You ain't got to do that, man. You do not have to do that. You are worth way more than that. You are way more valuable than that body that you selling. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you're gonna reach a certain point to where you are no longer desirable in regards to the body. They gonna want to see the younger boy that's 20 years younger than you once you reach 50. You ain't finna be 50 twerking on camera. Don't nobody want to see that. Let's be honest. Nobody wants to see that, man. So, like, again, no longevity behind that. No longevity, no substance behind that. No substance. And first of all, not only nobody want to see that, you shouldn't want to do that at 50, at 60. Like, that's just, come on, man. Like, that's just not, nope. Just understand the crowd that we dealing with. These dudes that's paying to see all of that, once you reach a certain age, as a woman, they gonna opt for the other route. They gonna opt for the younger option. That's how they gonna do it. And we just be honest right now. So there's no substance behind that. That's not gonna last long, man. That's very temporary, man. No substance behind doing that at all. None. None. So you telling me your end goal for life is to be 50, 60 on, like, you know what I'm saying, selling your body? Like, that's what you telling me. 40, you know what I'm saying, you selling your body? Like, we not doing that, man. We not doing that. We not doing that. That ain't how we rolling. That ain't how we rolling at all, man. It's pathetic if you ask me. But when you say that type of stuff, people want to get in their feelings and things of that nature. But it's pretty pathetic if you ask me, man. It's pathetic, it's lazy, and it's just ridiculous, man. There are plenty of other alternative methods in regards to generating revenue. You don't need to do that to generate revenue. And then all of you dudes that's egging them on, keeping them going by funding it, y'all are just as bad. Y'all are just as bad, man. Paying for that. Like, that's just as bad. So both parties are guilty. Both parties are trash for that nonsense. All of it needs to stop. Q the same, man, for sure. That would actually be a very good idea. But y'all, man, I think it's about that time for me, man. This is another powerful stream. I just want to just continue and end my build from yesterday. Felt like I got it off my chest, completed all of my sentiments in regards to this particular subject matter. Dean piece, what's happening. So I got to go ahead and wind it down, man, make some moves. So I appreciate everybody that tapped in, tuned in to the kid. Like I said, very powerful month. We trying to get a lot of information in. So again, we streaming, we back on it, back to regularly scheduled programming, the consistent streams. So we gonna keep it going. I'm gonna probably try to tap in with y'all. I may come back on later on, man. You never know. May be surprised. Y'all know how I go. So be on the lookout, man. I may come back later on. Who knows? Depending on how I'm feeling, depending on if I'm inspired or not. But I'm gonna tap out for a few hours, man. Give y'all some time to enjoy your day. I'm out. May see y'all later. Y'all be easy. Peace.